All right, we're back at Generational Gains. This is my son Carson Herlean. I'm Greg Herlean. Happy to be here. Excited actually to share some things this last week that we did real time, and kind of to kick it off. So thanks for listening. And this last week we were able to and were asked to speak at an event together. And I think that's the first time that someone's asked us to do it together.
Yeah.
I know you've had a couple speaking engagements, and I've probably had a few too in my life. But someone called and asked us to speak, and it was pretty special actually. Definitely a proud dad moment. But that being said, I wanted to jump right into it. So we spoke at an event. It was called EXP Investing. Right?
Expand Investing.
Expand Investing.
Yeah.
And hosted by Branding Brittingham. And he had EXP real estate agents and brokers, people that were established, that had a lot of business.
Yeah.
And we came together and talked about money, all things money, how to scale your business, how to get more leads, how to take care of your own finances, how to be the bank, how to use your retirement accounts. It was a full day, all day, kind of intense, good content meeting. And so that being said, there was a couple things that Carson shared. So Carson had a presentation that he shared a couple examples that one of them I've never heard of, but the other I had, but I think it was a great reminder. So I thought we'd kind of start with that. As you know, we talk about money in particular and from different perspectives. And Carson has done a phenomenal job of helping thousands of individuals take control of their money using the whole life banking policy, infinite banking that we've talked about. And so he talked about that, but gave a couple great examples of how to use that in your individual lives and being the banker and the importance of it. So would you mind sharing maybe one or two of those examples and maybe a couple other takeaways from EXP?
Yeah. So first thing, the takeaway I had was I wanted to buy more real estate. The more you learn about it, the more it's like, why don't I buy more? Why don't I put my time towards investing in real estate more? So that's a takeaway. I want to work on doing that. But it was great. Being around successful, high earning, whatever the word is, high IQ, I guess, individuals who run their real estate brokerage and crush it in the real estate market. They all make a lot of money, I feel like, and they're all pretty educated, but everyone's always looking for improvement and everyone's looking to scale their businesses to protect their money. And that's where I feel like you and I come in, as we teach people how to protect and control the money they make. I want you guys to go out and crush it, crush your businesses, go produce as much profit as you can, go do everything you're really good at. But when it comes to protecting and growing your money, it's a little bit different of a conversation. And I think a lot of people struggle with that. I think dealing with money is a burden for a lot of people. And what I've learned is if you leave money in your bank accounts, you leave money in a personal account, you leave money in a 401k, you leave money in your business even, or even leaving the equity in your house, it's all inefficient. I don't think it's a safe place for you to store money. Even people think that leaving money in their business is good, but I don't. I feel like you need to pull those profits out and put it in places you can control and are safe, because you never know when your business is going to go down. You never know when someone's going to try and sue you. You never know when something is going to happen. So finding a strategy and an actual calculation or formula of how you pull money out of your business and protect it, I think is important. And that's where what we teach comes in. And he teaches something different than I do, as you guys know. I think some people think we just teach the same thing, but it's different. And what we talk about is just controlling your money. And there's two different types of money. There's qualified money and there's non-qualified money. And there's two different ways to control those two different types of money. And so for me, I shared an example that I think is what you're wanting me to share of the question. And you guys listening, you guys can just think about this. But would you rather have $1 million today or a penny doubled every day for 30 days? Just think about it for a second. $1 million today, penny doubled every day for 30 days. When I said that, everyone in the audience said the penny for 30 days. They all knew. They all understood the importance of compound interest. But some people might not. And the math behind that is if you had $1 million a day, that's that, right? But a penny doubled every day for 30 days goes from a penny to 2 pennies to 4 to 8 to 16 to 32 to 64, 128, $3, $6, $12, so on and so forth. In 30 days, that penny doubles to $5.3 million. It's a lot of compounding. That's a lot of growth. And so I think that's interesting. If you just let compound interest do its thing, it's going to work out great. But if I was to throw a wrench in that plan and say, well, hey, what if we had a 2% fee every year while that penny was doubling? What if, and everyone listening, I'm sure you have places you put your money where someone's managing it, someone's charging a 1% to 3% fee, and you probably think that's fine. But the actual math is, if the penny doubled every day for 30 days, but with the 2% fee, it only compounds to $2 million. Or it was like 2.8 maybe.
Less than 3.
Less than 3. It was like 2.8 maybe. And that 2% fee is now costing you from 5.3 growth down to 2.8. It costs you over $2 million of compounding because there's a fee. Just 2%. 2% caused a $3 million loss. The same, or another way you can look at it too, is if you had a penny that doubled every day for 30 days, but you withdrew $100 on the 15th day, or you withdrew $100 on the 25th day, or both. Let's say you just took $200 out because you had to pay for something. That penny that doubled every day for 30 days that had $200 withdrawn only compounded to $2 million. That's what the $2 million was. So the $200 withdrawal cost you over $3.3 million of compounding. Just $200 because you stopped the money from compounding. And the last example is taxes. What if you had a penny doubled every day, but it was taxed at 15%, just 15%, not 20, 30 like some people are, 15%, and taxed at 15% every year or every day it doubled for 30 days. The money only compounds to $550,000. So you missed out on over $4 million of compounding because of that 15% tax. And you only end up spending like 150 grand in taxes. But that 150 grand of taxes cost you $4 million of compounding. So how many of you guys have places you put your money that have someone managing it, so there's a fee? You are able to withdraw from it when you want, and you most of the time do, or there's taxes, and the taxes either now or in the future, either way, there's taxes. So all three of those things combined on your money eliminate compounding, eliminate wealth. And those are the places we're told to put money. Mm-hmm. We're told to just get a 401k with your employer, and let it sit there forever, and then that's it. Someone else is controlling it, someone else is managing it. And sometimes I hear this story all the time. Someone loses a job, they have to take it out to go pay their bills, and now it's gone. And so how are we actually building wealth if we have all these different factors coming and going against us? If there was a place you could put your money that compounded forever, uninterrupted, that would be an efficient place for money to be. Places like a Roth IRA, places like a whole life policy. And so that's why we teach controlling your money, because in the qualified space, you need to have a place to do that, and same with your non-qualified money.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is such a great example, and I'll take one step back too from this. Most people that we were speaking to last week, like Carson said, super successful, making a lot of money. I think a lot of our listeners and or friends or partners make a lot of money. I think we make pretty good money as well. It's very easy to forget the importance of compounding interest. It's very easy to just maybe put your money in the wrong spot every year because it's easy.
And it's hard because you don't see it growing much.
That's right. And so you just kind of do the same things.
Yeah.
So the point of our discussions typically is just a reminder. I mean, the reminder to us sometimes, ourselves, but a lot of times to our clients, our investors, our followers, just tweaking how you handle your money, being in control of your money. I mean, the handful of examples that Carson just gave of how money works by compounding interest is critical. It is life-changing. And it's just by having the vehicles in which you put the money. And
that's true.
And I can't reiterate that enough. And I'm also reminded by it because, yes, I have a whole life policy that I do my banking in. Yes, I have a Roth retirement account. but still somehow I find money outside of both those vehicles.
Yeah.
And a little bit shame on me, right? I know I know there'll always be some money outside those vehicles. I realize that.
Yeah.
But if I really maximize that, and maybe it's only an extra $10,000 or $50,000 per year in these other buckets, how much more successful and more wealth I'll have for myself that I can use while I'm alive, and or to pass on to my future generation. Not to you, of course, but to your siblings.
This is interesting too. Just had a thought.
That at all?
Oh, sorry. I was totally thinking about it. Say it again.
That's good. I said so you could pass on to your future generations. Not you, of course, but your siblings.
Sorry, I was thinking of the next thing I was going to say. That's okay. I don't need it.
Yeah.
Give it to them.
What were you going to say? What were you thinking of right at the end of what I was saying?
Was super not as good as that. It was just dumb. I was just going to say, I think it'd be interesting if maybe we can do this for our listeners, but come up with some sort of formula of what we'd recommend, how much we would contribute to these places. For example, you make 150 grand a year. What would you do? Well, maybe I would max out, if I was self-employed, which would be the best scenario, I would try and max out a solo 401k, employee and employer sponsored. Then I'd backdoor into a Roth on years that I could buy real estate and cost seg. And then all my extra income every year I'd put into whole life. And I would use all these tax savings and cash values to go buy real estate with and to keep doubling it. I'm sure there's a formula we could put together to make that work.
Well, we have them. You have yours and I have mine.
Yeah.
We should combine them.
Yeah.
So let's do that. We're going to do that for you on one of our next episodes, actually talk about it, but also put it in there and we'll share it with you, because I do think sharing a best case scenario of doing it all
a goal
right
to go towards.
And then also maybe I'm only going to do it half of that pace.
Yeah.
What that would look like over a 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 year period. I think that'd be super powerful. So let's do that. I think that's a great...
that's what we're trying to do, what we do. So why don't we teach that? Those numbers...
They're real. They work.
Those formulas would work. So we definitely should share that. I mean, that's my thought, is what I briefly just mentioned to you guys is what I would think would be the most efficient way to do things.
We'll do that in one of the upcoming podcasts. That being said, I also, you had mentioned a few things in the beginning that I want to go back to. I think that's very applicable to generational gains, how you and I are different, or at least a different perspective on idle money. Because in my 20s, when I had very little to lose, and I also thought every investment would go perfectly, I would take out my idle cash, meaning take out the equity of my business, take out the equity of my houses, and I would double down on other asset classes and stuff. Well, then when things didn't go as planned, I just
Full
lost
leverage.
all that. And so I do think, as an asterisk to that comment, is when you have very little to lose.
Yeah.
Yeah, I absolutely recommend doing what I did and what you're talking about.
Yeah.
You have little to lose, you've got to double down. You can't make the big gains unless you go all in. So I'm for it. But as you mature up, gain some more years, and you have more assets to lose and more liability, my recommendation is do what makes you and your significant other feel good at night, what makes you sleep better at night. And if that means paying off your house and or having idle cash, decide where you're going to have the idle cash at.
Yes.
So maybe you have it in an insurance policy or in a retirement account or a combination thereof. Or you have it in your house as well. I'm a big proponent of having very little debt on my personal stuff, but leveraging other assets. And so I do think when that subject comes up, knowing how to use your money and where to put it is a game changer. When he talks about this penny doubling, it's powerful. You can be doing it in these two different vehicles and still paying off your house.
Yeah.
And also leaving money in your bank account and or in your company. And so I think it goes back to one of our conversations about goal setting as well, is, have a goal, talk about it with your significant other if you have one. If not, meet with somebody that helps you keep accountable to have success, real gains in multiplying and compounding.
Mm-hmm. I would agree. I mean, I think within that formula, there's reserves built in. When I mentioned you don't want money sitting in your business because your business could go have some problem. Yes, but you also need reserves and operating cash in your business to keep it afloat. So you might need 50 grand sitting in your business account at all times. You might need 100 grand sitting there at all times. I'm not saying you pull it out and put it in other places, but you need to understand, like you said, what your goal is, what you value, where you want your money to be. And then if you have all those reserves met, you have all your expenses met, and then you can start planning on building the wealth and protecting it. That's when that's the conversation. So I 100% agree. And we're actually going to go in 3 more weeks and speak again together. Someone asked us to go speak together again, but this time, like last week, it was more of a reached out to us individually. They want us to teach our own strategies and do our thing.
We each had 45 minutes or so.
It was our own separate things on stage. But this time, he was like, hey, we want you guys together to speak on stage together and do a presentation together that you build together and teach our group. And so that'll be interesting. And that's what we love talking about, is controlling your money and building wealth and teaching people how to do that. And so it should be great. But we want to be providing value to you guys watching this, and these things we're sharing. Tell us what you would like to hear more about, what you don't want to hear more about. And so we know how we can really help you guys really dive deep into wealth building, because there's a lot of different topics and deep things we can dive into. And that's what we're going to keep doing at these different events and podcasts. And so we'd love for you guys to keep following us and being a part of our journeys. But that's what we're looking to do, is teach controlling the money and the importance of doing so.
Yeah, and I would say also, I mean, as far as some takeaways from EXP, there's probably a few other ones. I mean, one of the things that I know you and I talk about, and you mentioned in the beginning too, is I was surprised on how many people were paying very little in taxes. And that was a big conversation thing as well. Remember, I mean, there was like, I think 3 people went up there and was like, I pay nothing in taxes. And I was, and, you know, and so I'm not, you know, we're not CPAs obviously. But that being said, I think as you focus on where your money goes, most people that are listening to us already are really good at making money. You're really good in your, whatever your industry or space is.
It's true.
Then after you've worked so hard, right, to make all this money, you put in, you know, you're taking phone calls on your vacations, weekends, late nights, building your business, building your portfolio. And then you spend such little time. When I say you, I fall into this bucket too. Such little time on the tax part, on keeping what you just earned. You work so hard on lead gen, right? And conversions and sales and doing all that. And then all of a sudden you make all this money, and then we spend very little on tax planning, tax strategies. And I think that was another big subject. And I know what we talk about, infinite banking as well as self-directed, both of those things are tax kind of strategies, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of deferment in taxes in those strategies.
Estate planning and
but
stuff.
There's also other things, some, you know, bonus depreciation and different kind of methods of tax strategies as well. So I just think I want to bring that up as well. I think it's something that if you're not doing it, you should be following up. And if you don't have someone, you know, CPA or someone, a tax planner that's proactive, use that person as you kind of bring in these different vehicles and put these goals together, because paying less to Uncle Sam can be just as powerful. The example you gave, 15%, if you can lower that 15% to 5 or 0, you're talking about millions of dollars.
Yeah.
So,
and not to take the conversation to numbers, but business owners and salespeople and entrepreneurs have their KPIs. Like you said, they know their lead gen, they know their conversion rate, they know what they sell. But then what are your KPIs on the rest of your life? What are your KPIs on your on what you invest in, how much you save, how much you put in certain places? What are you trying to hit? What are your goals there? And even I heard some people at the other event we went to, Boardroom, a couple weeks prior, they keep KPIs on their marriage and their relationship and their weekends and their everything. They know and are so dialed down with their life that they have goals in every scenario and they have KPIs they want to hit and have. And so it's not just the lead gen, like you said, and the sales conversion, but it's everything you do in your life, finding ways to understand it, put it into numbers, maximize it. Yeah. So that being said, hope this is valuable to you guys. We love sharing our little snippets every week about what we're learning and what we're doing, and hopefully this is important to you guys too, and you're gaining a lot of value from this. And as we end every episode, we always end with a sweet, sour, or service or gratitude just about the past week or so. So I can go first.
Okay.
I would say, I never do sour. Let's do a sour. It's been stressful the last 2 weeks. Moving. So we just moved into a new place. And the second we moved, I was flying in from an event, landed at 10 p.m., wake up the next day and move all day. 2 days later, travel somewhere else to another event. And as traveling to Vegas, we both come home. We're both working every single day. And it's just been a chaotic couple weeks because we're not home. We just moved and everything's all over the place and we don't have time to actually sit down and do it. And then I'm trying to work while I'm trying to build my office at the same time. It's just so stressful. So it's been a stressful couple of weeks. Fun though, so not totally a sour, but it's fun to move somewhere. But we definitely, next time we move, I'm not traveling for a week before or after. We got to just get settled in. We're not settled in still. We've been there for 2 weeks.
What's your percentage that you're settled in today? What'd you say?
My KPI?
Yeah, you're like 80% settled now, or 50, or
I would say 75%, 80%. Yeah.
Okay, so you see the light in the tunnel.
Yeah, every day it's 10% more. We're slowly getting there.
Good. Yeah, that's moving is a sour. They say that
it's a lot of work.
What is it? It's death, divorce, and moving are the 3 hardest things, most stressful things in life. So you're experiencing one of them.
It's stressful, and we don't even have much stuff.
Yeah. Just next time you will.
Now I know.
Yeah.
Now I know.
That's a good sour. My sour, let's see. My sour.
You don't have to do sour too.
Yeah, I'm not going to do a sour because I feel really good and blessed right now. And there's hard things for sure that I'm dealing with. But I'll go with my sweet that I mentioned at the beginning of this. My sweet was this last week. He and I speaking together. I was very proud of seeing you speak. And, a lot of people were proud for me. They were watching me watch you. I didn't know that. They're like, oh, it was so cool to see you watching your son present. And so that was definitely my sweet this last week. So yeah.
I love it. Cool. Well, thank you guys for watching. Talk to you soon.